Hello everyone, today we're gonna check out this guy who goes by the name Moonprince on 888 Poker. His favorite stake is not that high, he mainly plays NL50, but he has an insane win rate there of 19.7 BBs per 100. In my humble opinion, this is the best win rate you can actually achieve playing big volume on NL50. And his volume is quite big, 155,000 hands. We will go over 3 hands played by Moonprince against recreational players. Our hero is especially good in playing against recreationals. Alright, first hand, Jack 5 suited on the button, open limp, we ISO raise, he calls, and let's take a look at our opponent. Who are we facing here? It's a recreational player clearly. He plays a 71 to 16. There's nothing specific in his stats I want to emphasize. It's just that the guy is clearly bad, clearly a recreational player with a very wide range. Amazing board for us. We hit 2 pair, top 2 pair. Board is pretty connected, pretty drawy. And hero checks back. Well, for many regulars, the default play here would be to bet. But let's see how good checking actually is. Well, I think that if you have a clear vision, a clear plan on what to do next with your hand or with your range, then checking is totally fine. I mean, you should know how to react to his bet, when to raise, on which runouts, what sizing to use. And if he decides to check on the turn again, we should know what sizing we want to use for our betting region. And a little spoiler here, I know that our hero does have a good plan on what to do against a check, a second check on the turn. Ace hits on the turn, a villain checks again, and hero does this. He bets huge, he bets 100 blinds. So he wants to get as much value here as possible. Why did he bet so big? I think there's a psychological aspect to it. I think that for recreational players it is more challenging, more interesting and more fun to call a 100 blind bet. And we also have a really good hand, but a very vulnerable as well. I mean, any diamond card on the river is very bad for us. Any deuce, any 3, any 4, any ace we don't really like as well. And even king or queen are not that great for us. And while we are most likely still ahead, our hero decides to get as much value as possible right now. Before things change. Villain calls, and of course we don't care what card comes on the river. We want to shove the rest. We only have 10 blinds left. And villain calls again and shows ace 3 offsuit. Next hand, ace queen suited on the small blind. We ISO raise and get 2 calls. Our villain here is this guy on the button, and let's go over his stats. Here he is, recreational player, 50-17. And what's interesting is he has a huge aggression frequency pretty much on every street. He also has a huge gap between won money at showdown and won when saw flop. Which indicates that he is very aggressive, he overplays his hands, he likes to bluff, and so on. Hero bets really small, only 1 big blind to induce a raise from a weaker opposition. Big blind calls, he probably has nothing here, and button raises, which is what we were hoping for. We call big blind folds, 3 of clubs on the turn. It's a brick turn card, but at the same time we improve to a nut flush draw. So we have top pair and a nut flush draw now. We start with the check and then we check raise. The idea here is that we check raise for a thin value. We know that 3 on the turn doesn't improve his range at all, and we also know that this is a very aggressive guy. He can easily bet tons of weaker hands, weaker than ours, and we can comfortably play 4 stacks right now against him. He calls Jack of Diamonds on the river. This card is good for us because it doesn't complete any draws. I mean, it improves Ace-Jack to 2 pairs, but beside that it doesn't complete any straight draws or flush draws, which is actually more important to us here. And since we play against a very aggressive guy who really likes to bluff, who can bluff for his entire stack, we decide to check here and to turn our hand into a bluff catcher. So yeah, we check, he shoves, and we of course call. And we are totally right, he shows up with the bluff. And a final hand for today, Ace-9 offsuit on the big blind, our opponent on the button, cheap pay, let's check him out. Clearly a recreational player, but it's better to check his stats down here. Because here we see his stats for no limit games, and it is 63-32, but his average stats are 70-32. It's because he also plays PLO, and in PLO games we can check his stats right here. He plays more hands, 79-31. He also plays heads up, so yeah, we want his stats for short-handed and full ring tables for no limit games. And here on the top we see his average stats for all the game types, all the table types. So yeah, these stats are more objective, more accurate for us. We hit the trips on the flop, and hero decides to don't bet, don't bet. Why did he go for this option? First of all, we want to take a look what type of players our opponent is. His c-bet frequency is below average. He only c-bets 49% in position on the flop. So yeah, it's below average. He's not very aggressive with his c-betting. But on the other hand, he is very aggressive with his raises. He raises and check raises combined 23% on the flop. So yeah, we just try to induce a raise, and this way hero extracts extra value from his potential bluffs. We clearly see that his stats are skewed towards raising, so we just want to exploit that. And he does raise, which is amazing. We call, and we min bet again. Okay, on the turn he is not as aggressive as he is on the flop, 9%, he raises 9%. But anyways, hero goes for this line again, he tries to induce a raise and he gets one, and he answers with a min re-raise. Well, we want to keep as many hands as possible in villain's range. The board is quite dry actually. I mean, 6 of hearts brings some draws here, flush draws, maybe even some straight draws, but overall it's quite dry still. And he calls, okay, 8 of diamonds on the river, and the hero again uses this huge overbet of 100 BBs. He probably really likes this sizing. And actually it is a very well-known concept that when we have a really good hand, we want to extract as much value as possible from weaker opponents, and huge overbets really do the job. And villain calls. Unfortunately, we don't see the showdown, we don't know what he called with, but we know that we won eventually. And this is it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.